Hi, this is Stephanie with Energy Alliance. This is my Thursday Tarot Insight. Welcome if you haven't been here before. Every Thursday, I pick one Tarot card that highlights and harnesses the energy of the collective. And then we talk about how we can bring that energy down into our individual lives and use it or expand on it or utilize it. And today, the card that I picked is the Seven of Fire, and I'll show you what it looks like. I have to be honest. When I pulled this card, I was a little bit not confused, but it took me a little bit to kind of tune into this card. Seven of Fire, Courage. So as I've talked before about the tarot and how it works with the numbers, is 1 through 10 is a cycle. So here we are in the seven of fire. Fire is about our spirit, kind of like the deep spiritual beings that we are, or spiritual energy, or unseen energy that connects deeply with us, with our truth. And so when we get to the 7 of a cycle, we've gone 1 through 5. So we've kind of started out as little babies and learned a lesson, or in the process of learning a certain lesson or lessons. And we get to the 5, which is kind of the midpoint, and we go, we kind of have a little bit of a turning point in the 5 and 6. And then the 7, it's a little bit of a pause and a kind of intake time where we kind of get pulled down and look deeper, or we get clouded with some judgment or elements that are kind of trying to make sure that we have clarity about the changes and growth that we're doing to continue on to the 8, 9s, and 10s. And it's not that we ever go backwards. It's just that 7 can be like kind of the contract, like, okay, you sure you're ready to do this? Let's keep going forward. And it doesn't mean that we have to sign it, but eventually we're being asked to evolve. So that's what this card is also representing. So when I looked at it for a little bit, the phrases that came up first was, are we able to see beyond? Like, are we able to see energy beyond, to kind of see in the bigger picture? Can we look past with our psychic eyes and our spiritual senses and our real life senses, look past what's happening in the now? Right? This isn't just going to be like this forever. So can we look beyond? Even if we can't see, can we have some kind of understanding there is even something beyond this phase? And the other thing that came through right away was the elements don't change. So what are we holding on to? So I had to ask a little bit about what this meant. Holding on, and in this card, this figure represents a kite, as you can see, and it's kind of like we hold on to the kite string, and we're holding on because it's gonna be kind of a wild ride. Not that it hasn't been, but we're holding on with the sense of trust now. Like, we've done all this learning up to 6, up to 7 now in this phase of our collective consciousness. And now we are holding tight through this kind of wild ride that's going to be to the end of 2024, to be honest, where we're going to be asked to really trust. So when I say the elements don't change, like what it's really saying is things and thoughts and the world, the collective, all of this may evolve. When we talk about this in these tarot insights, it's all evolving. We're evolving as individuals and therefore as a collective. But the elements don't change, the ingredients, so to say. So what are the elements? Like earth, air, fire, and water, like just basic elements in our physical world. And the fact that we are physical beings. There are, we live on this earth. We're spirits in these bodies, but we're physically here. And these elements don't change. We need air to breathe, right? We need clean air and clean water to survive. We need all of these elements, and they don't really change. So really holding on to the fact that there is something to trust in. There is something to trust in. We are here. We have these elements that we can rely on. And what else is showing up around? What are these things that are showing up? and asking, are these distractions? Are they informing us? Are they distracting us? And that's kind of what these figures are, is things that are kind of coming in, and they're possibilities, and it's just getting clear for ourselves as a collective. Are these possibilities distracting us from what's real, or informing us to make the best and highest decisions for all of us? And that's really an interesting thing to look at in this card. Are these elements building on the other elements? Is this building up? This card, again, is asking us to trust, to really trust. Trust in what, right? Trust in what? Trust in the truth of our spirits. Trust in the truth of our spirits. Trust in the truth of our spirits. I can't say it enough. Finding a way to trust in the truth of our spirits would be to find a real sense of spirituality here, and trust that, what can we rely on? What can we rely on? What can we really rely on, right? What can you rely on? What we can rely on is the elements: earth, air, fire, water, and the elements of our spirit, and trusting in the connection we have with ourselves. And that could be with ourselves as a collective. Like I said, this card is kind of going to dip us down into some darkness through the end of 2024. And this is like this dipping us down into the darkness has its purpose. The purpose is for us to experience it, to us experience the hanging on. Because when you have to hang on, what are you hanging on to? What are you believing in? What are you relying on? What are you trusting in? And that's what this card is asking us as a humanity. And it's up for us to answer that question. And the reason why it's in the spirit, the fire element, which is spirit, is because it's asking us to deepen our awareness and ask, what do we really trust in here? So I was a little bit stumped at the beginning when I pulled this card. I oftentimes will sit with it for a while, and sometimes things come through right away, and sometimes it may take a second or two. And so when I feel a little bit like I just want a little bit more information, I can pull another card, and that's what I did. I asked to pull another card for more information, and funny enough, this is the card that came up, the universe, which is the 21. It's the last card in the major arcana of the tarot deck. So the major arcana being the bigger elements. The suits are more of kind of the day-to-day and the nitty-gritty, and things we're kind of moving through in a kind of quicker way. But the major arcana are big lifetimes and spiritual truths and lessons that we're learning and moving through, and the universe is the last card in this. And this is what this told me when I pulled this card, is that we're at the beginning of the end of a cycle. So a huge cycle for humanity. And it's not really ever the end of something. We spiral through our evolution, so we're passing through and moving all the time. So it's the end of a cycle, but it's part of our evolution. So take a look at this card, because it really is similar in some ways to this card as far as the color scheme and what's showing up here. The universe is taking all the information on all the levels, in all the suits, the fire, the air, the water, right? The earth, and it's incorporating all of them. It's in this pause of like, I know that the cycle is ending. It's like everything is in this one card. And this is kind of how it is for us now. It's kind of like all eggs are in the basket, all hands on deck. It's really kind of a huge phase as a collective humanity that we're going through, and we're coming to the end of it in this year. And it's exciting and a little bit scary because we don't know. And so we really rely on those truths I was talking about earlier, finding the truths for you, what are real, what don't change. Humanity doesn't change. Humanity's drive to do better, to evolve, and to connect. Love, is an element that I think it does not change. And so when we take this card and this card and we ask us to bring it down into how we can individually use this energy, is to ask ourselves, what are your core truths, right? We're humans. We're human beings. We're spirits in these bodies. And how do we want to be in the world? What are our core truths? And to really ask yourself that. And to even do a little bit of writing about it, or just contemplation. Like, what are your core truths? When the SHIT hits the fan, like, what do you hold on to? What is it going to be that you hold on to when we kind of go into this little bit of a dark period at the end of the year? And, this card is asking us to, again, hold on to those core truths through this phase. Come back to them over and over again. So for me, myself, it's goodwill, love, kindness. I'm connecting with my spirit and listening to my own inner guidance. Ease. And I know this is kind of not the end of the year, but it feels like we're moving that way rather quickly. And energetically, what it feels like to me is that September, right now in September on all the way through December, is its own little container of things that are going to be happening, not just under the surface, but deep, deep in ourselves, and therefore deeply in our collective consciousness. And to keep your awareness open, it doesn't mean to constantly be looking out and seeing it, but if you are doing that, taking time to reflect what you're seeing and how it resonates with you and your core truths. So I'm contemplating for myself for the rest of the year, just really kind of coming down and in as much as possible into myself, so I can check in with this kind of energy. It seems important now. And we definitely want to be going forward with integrity and truth and love. I know everybody wants that. And those can be your core truths. All right, all. I'm sending you all so much love and deep awareness. And I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.